Hello, welcome back to the Top Deck podcast. We are now going to go into graphics and technicalities. While I don't know much about this myself at all,
I mean, you
I,
do have eyes, right?
I do have eyes, but I also like Minecraft. So here we are. Um, Ajman is back with us, obviously.
Hello there.
Um, and I'd like to remind you all that this is a 2011 game, so we're not going to be too harsh.
I mean, not much reason to be harsh in the first place, right, Adrian? It's a beautiful game, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. Even in 2020, it still holds up pretty well when it comes to the graphics, and it's pretty decent looking. Honestly, it doesn't look out of date if you don't have like really high expectations. It looks pretty great.
That is true.
Honestly.
That is true. But I guess we should get the negatives out of the way before we delve into it a little deep. And me and Ajmain, and I think even Daniel, we've been having gripes about the remaster, and I think Ajmain's the best one to
Mhm.
start off this debate. What do you think about the remaster, Ajmain? The Return to Arkham
I
remaster.
In short, it was tremendously disappointing. I have seen a lot of remasters from last gen games, like games from the PS3 era. Like on PS4, there was the on PS3 there was the Uncharted games that were on the PS3,
yeah.
and they were remastered in beautiful ways on the PS4. They added 60 hertz support on the PS4, and on top of that, the graphics were beautiful. It looked like it was a real remaster.
Yeah, something
But
done right.
I cannot say the same for the Return to Arkham games, which are basically Arkham Asylum and Arkham City remastered. And Arkham City on current gen consoles, like on the PS4 and Xbox One,
Still stuck on 30, right?
they're still stuck on 30 for some reason. Like the developers apparently couldn't bump it up to 60, even though there are other PS3 games that have been remastered and they have 60 hertz support.
Yeah.
But I guess the studio that remastered it, Virtuos Games or Virtuo Studios, I think that's what they're called. They remastered it, and they basically just toned up some of the things.
The textures
like-
and stuff, right?
Yeah, just some of the textures, not even all of them. Because sometimes it does get blurry. Like if you zoom in on certain objects, you will surprisingly find them to be blurry in a remastered. And that's unacceptable, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of
And-
graphical fidelity, it's supposed to be better, right? Not worse.
Exactly, it's supposed to be better. That's the purpose of a remastered. And even though Arkham Asylum's remastered version was more disappointing to me than Cities.
Yeah, hey, the
Cities
lip
one-
syncing, right? That was all messed up.
Yeah, it was a massacre. Like it was unacceptable on that front as well. The lip syncing was bad in Asylum's remastered. In Cities one, it's just minor changes. They kind of increased the color saturation in some of the characters, and they toned up Batman's suit and the other characters' costumes a bit. They made it a bit more sharp, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
There's no
that's true.
60 hertz support. There is no major support for it. Although, I will say this, that for the Xbox One X version, which is the superior Xbox One console, it
Yeah,
has
that's
4K 60 support.
I've heard.
But I'm like, you really needed an Xbox One X for 60 hertz? I mean, couldn't you do that with the standard console? It's not that hard.
And,
Other
and
studios have done it.
PS4s can play games at 60, right?
They
like
can.
even standard
I told you.
PS4s.
They can. Standard PS4s can. Like Star Wars Battlefront 2, Battlefield 1, and other shooters. They all run at 60.
Yeah.
And Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection, which is a PlayStation exclusive, that also runs at 60 hertz on PS4. On the main PS4.
Then I
So
guess it just comes down to shoddy development. Wouldn't you say?
Exactly. The developers disappointed big time with the remastered. I'm honestly gonna say that if you're a new player to Arkham City, play the PC version. Get yourself a decent PC. Get the PC version.
Even on the PC version, there are a few bugs that we will talk about when we get to it. But I guess if you want to make it look better and you're playing on PC, there's a few mods right? I remember you were using Danny. You were using.
Yeah, I use this reshading mod that I found on Nexus.
Yeah. There's a few things out there that make your experiences a little nicer. It was a really cool lighting mod, wasn't it? It made everything look a little
But more bloom.
Yeah. But yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
that's one of the perks of having it on PC.
Yeah,
Like, you have
obviously, 'cause you
custom
can-
patch files, custom mods, and you can like potentially make it better. There are many ways to make your experience better on PC, which is more the reason why you should play it on PC instead of on consoles.
So I guess to our viewers, what we're trying to say is, don't spend your money on the remaster on a console. Just get it. I mean,
Definitely
the best part
not.
about Arkham
Don't
City is
waste
you
your
don't
money.
need like a $5,000 rig to run it as well, right? You can get away with something pretty normal, pretty decent. So yeah, just don't bother playing the remaster on console. Just get a PC.
I honestly think
Yeah,
looks
I
better.
have like
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. And if you
I have
really
like a
want to,
GTX
if you really want to make a difference, just use one of the mods, right?
and I have like a GTX 1050 in my laptop, and I can run
Yes,
Arkham
ooh.
City at high settings at more than 60 hertz, like high settings at 60, 1080p, and it looks gorgeous. So
Yeah,
and
there you have
1050
it.
doesn't cost much nowadays.
Yeah, they're cheap
pretty
cards.
cheap.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty like you don't need like a high-end PC or laptop to play Arkham City
It's
at
true.
great settings. So just get a decent gaming setup on PC and play it there.
I mean, along with that, I guess we can start talking about the goods, right? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
geez, this game is beautiful. Really, quite a bit of a step up from Asylum. Bless you there, Daniel. But quite a bit of a step up from Asylum because of how good it looked. And along with that, I think all the work that Rocksteady put into the textures and the animations, all the different animations that Batman had just for his various multitude of takedowns, right? It's insane because again, this was an old game doing things that was somewhat unprecedented in its time. And yeah, on that subject, even the attention to detail in the character models, right? Making sure those textures were crisp and nice. And even, what is it, like 9 years after it's 9 years? Is it 9 years?
9 years,
Yeah, 9 years after its release, it's still satisfying to play, right? For all of us, and we don't have to lie about that. But on the technical side of things, I guess there was a somewhat lack of optimization, obviously, because it's a hella old game,
Yeah.
right? I think I myself ran into a couple of crashes just last week
Yeah.
while I was
Yeah,
playing.
I think I ran into one or two as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's mostly because you guys have modern graphics cards.
Now, actually, it's just mine that like I got frame starters and drops, right? And I'm running an RTX card on my laptop, and I think that's why this new architecture. And Danny was fine. Danny's laptop was doing fine because I think he has a GTX card. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the beauties of playing any game on PC. If you have major issues with a graphics card or your processor, or if it's not optimized properly by the developers, there's always the option of downloading custom patch files from the internet.
True. I need to try that alternative.
Yeah, and then if you download those ones and install them into your game on PC, it most of the time it fixes your game because these guys, when they make these patches, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the beauties of playing any game on PC.
That is
not just
true.
Arkham City.
That is true.
So
it's nice to know that even when there is a problem that we bring up, there are fixes for it. But at the end of the day, that doesn't save the developer from the review, right?
Exactly.
I mean, we gotta be fair, honestly, because it's a very old game.
True.
It's very unrealistic to expect Rocksteady to support a game 9 years after its release. Like, only select games do that.
That is fair. That is fair.
Only games like Grand Theft Auto 5, like GTA 5, and a few others get like really long support.
Yeah, because everyone plays it, and there's just that many mods.
It's got GTA Online and stuff, so it makes sense for them to have such longer support.
That is a fair point to make. That is a fair point.
Rocksteady supporting a game for 9 years.
That is fair.
We gotta be fair.
Yeah, I'll go with you there. But on the subject, the physics engine in Arkham City,
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll cut straight to the chase. Um, I mean, there may be mixed opinions on what we're about to say, but I mean, Danny, do the honors. Just
Do
go.
you want me to do the honors?
Yeah,
This is
need
a tough conversation.
You need to do
This
the
is
honors.
All right. Well, you know what? I might as well take the hit. So in this game, you can play as Catwoman,
Mm.
and about 90%, if not 100%, of the developers at Rocksteady are men. So they took it upon themselves to present Catwoman in such a way in which she had physics engine.
I'll just, you know what? I'll rip the
Yeah. Just good. Yeah, I'm not good at. I'm no good at this.
Long story short, Catwoman's boobs keep bouncing around, just as do Harley's. And, you know, whilst, you know, for the average teenage guy, it's like, oh my god, and all of that, you know, it's a little sexist of Rocksteady.
Yeah, it is a little bit. I mean, to be fair, all comic books really sexual.
True.
I mean, if you pick up a comic book nowadays, I mean, it's hard not to find overly sexualized women like in them. So
that is true.
It's not just the games industry; it's the comics itself, like the source material.
That is true, and I guess that brings us to the debate as to whether, you know, is it being comic accurate or is it being sexist? You know.
Yeah.
But it is something that we want to point out, just because, you know, as a relatively mature audience, I guess. We need to shine light where it needs to be shined.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And that is one of the concerns that we had, that we feel like it could affect it, because again, though, we don't know if this is comic accuracy or just straight up sexism.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be.
And we don't want to be chads about it either.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we might have to penalize a little bit for that, because it is quite
apparent.
Yeah, and just the entire style.
Yeah.
Of Catwoman as well, and her walking and stuff.
I guess
like the slide that she does.
Yeah, true. The
So
animation.
that is kind of
like I know that this falls under the character design more, but when the graphics are concerned for Catwoman, she did look fairly decent. Like not just decent.
Oh, she looked decent.
Graphically speaking, You're talking
about the textures for the suit and the damage and the wear and tear, right?
Yeah, the textures were done beautifully.
Yeah, that is something I would agree with.
Not only is she comic accurate, but also they managed to put their own spin on her, so it's also unique and comic accurate at the same time. It falls under the graphics because, you know,
textures.
It looks great.
Yeah,
the textures look great. So yeah,
it's just I guess you know, would have probably been a little smarter for them to, you know, maybe consider the fact that they shouldn't overly sexualize Catwoman, but then again, this was, I guess, at a less sensitive time, wasn't it?
It was. I mean,
but that isn't an excuse.
No.
Well,
at least they calm things down a bit from night.
Yeah, true.
A little bit.
But then again, if I saw this video this one time where if someone switched Catwoman's walking animations with Batman's walking animations and have Batman walk like Catwoman.
Yeah, I saw that. That's so good.
That was hilarious. Yeah,
that was so funny.
All they did like when I was pull the zipper up a bit.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so pretty sad. But anyway,
guys, what do you think about the cape physics in Arkham City?
That is an interesting point to bring up. I think it's really good, especially the new animations with the control. What am I saying? The control. I mean, dive bombing, because he pressed control to dive bomb. I've had a long day. Right. But yeah, the dive bombing animations and whatnot, I think it looks really dope. And yeah, I think the cape looks really good in Arkham City.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
It does. Although I find it interesting when you have holes in the cape, you should probably just put it straight to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. But
anyway,
it's Batman.
It's Batman.
Yeah, it's Batman. At the end of the day. I'm really impressed with how it looked in Asylum. Like, if they took a developer took, I don't know, like 2 years or something.
One year.
But
1 year, like
an awful lot of time.
Yeah, a guy spent an entire year just working on making Batman's cape look realistic in Asylum, and that paid off. And they improved on it in City in many ways. like with the newer animations, just like you said, Mix.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it looked beautiful at the end of the day, and it was eye candy. Like seeing Batman's cape move like that while he's diving and while he's gliding, while he's in combat, it flows beautifully and it's pretty realistic, at least in my opinion.
Didn't glitch out.
And I guess a lot of people would agree with that. So, yeah. Like kudos to Rocksteady for making that look good.
And alongside that, the lip syncing as well. I think that really helped with immersion because you didn't have the whole like, what's it even called when the lips just go up and down. They were
puppeting.
Yeah, puppet. Yeah. That. It was.
I will add one point about the lip syncing though. Like it's more of a thing in the remastered version.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that
up. It's not great either. Like the remaster has lots of problems. Like I think at this point, like I can confidently say that the only point in getting a remaster is if you only have a console and you don't have a PC and you're forced to buy it. Yeah. That's the only reason why you would buy it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of bad things in it. Like I already mentioned the bad textures and the frame rate problems.
Yeah.
And the lip syncing is one of them. Like it's not as bad as it is in Arkham Asylum. Like Arkham Asylum's like the remastered version of Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, the lip syncing was horrible. I remember watching gameplay. I was like, wow, why
and
is
in
this?
City, it's a bit better, but it's not great. Like it doesn't fit well at some points.
That
like they
is true.
could have fixed it because a remastered is supposed to be better than its original version in many ways. And it came out in 2016, like 5 years after the original game. So you had plenty of time
and
to
resources,
get better technology. Like Arkham, it came out after Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
The remaster came out after Arkham Knight.
Beautiful. It was a work of art.
It could be released today and you wouldn't know the difference.
It's a masterpiece. Arkham Knight's graphics it's top notch. It's incomparable. I will get to that in a different video, but what I'm saying is that Arkham City, in the remastered version, that is, the lip syncing is disappointing. They could have improved it.
It's just dumb that you pay for something new and the old thing still has better lip syncing. Like what?
Yeah.
Right.
And even if it has its faults, it's reasonable because it came out so long ago.
Exactly.
But it's not reasonable with the remaster that it came out in 2016. So
but then
that's
again,
disappointing.
all three of us are PC players for the most part.
Yeah.
So we're fine. We'll be fine. But yeah, Danny, are we missing anything?
I think that's about all we can probably cover for graphics, to be honest.
True. We have rambled on for quite some time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess let's get into scoring this. So, Ajman, you want to go first?
Sure. All right. For graphics and technicalities, like I unfortunately have to consider the remastered version as well as the whole version of Arkham City.
That is fair.
Like I have to combine the main game and the remastered because they're the same thing.
Same title. Yeah, that is fair.
They're the same title, the same game.
On the console port, you don't have the choice, right? You have to buy the remaster if you want to get into it.
Exactly. So taking all those things into account, I would probably just give it a 7.5.
A 7.5.
Yeah. I will say this though, as a side note, I would have given it an 8 or an 8.5 if the remaster didn't exist.
What are your faults otherwise?
My main faults are being the bad text, like the disappointing textures in the remastered version.
Oh, for the main game, I mean.
Oh, for the main game. For the main game, I think the only things would be the cartoonish faces sometimes. I think that in game, I get that it was released in 2011, but the faces looked a bit cartoonish, and they could have changed that. Like sometimes they look great in the cutscenes, and then at other times they look cartoonish. So that's one problem. And the other one is probably the bugs that you encounter sometimes, like the minor bugs you might face.
Yeah.
In the PC version or the original version, that is. Because it was a console port. Like, it was released on consoles and then it got on PC, I think. Is that right?
The console port came first. We'll talk a little bit more about the bugs later, but yeah, the console port came first.
So,
sure.
Bugs aside, it's the cartoonish textures and probably the occasional stutters. Like that's it.
Mm.
That's why I would have given it an 8. But we have to consider the remaster as well.
Yeah, because it's the same
remastered
title. That is a
version?
fair judgment.
Yeah.
Right?
So the remastered has way too many problems. Like they could have improved it, and it's disappointing. So I have to give it a 7.5. That's my final
7.5.
score.
All right, I'll go next.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo. All right, so there were a lot of things that I loved about the game. The attention to detail. One thing that I should very quickly mention, even the battle damage, it's so specific, right? In the whole game, like when you're blocking Rach's swords in that boss battle, it actually scores your gauntlets, right? And the battle damage from the explosions, it rips your cape, and the shots that you take, they make damage in your suit, and that attention to detail is just something that I missed in a lot of modern games. You know?
Yeah.
And I think it is because of that. I think it's because of that reason that I will score this game, even with its faults with the remaster. I will score Arkham Asylum. Arkham City. What am I saying? Arkham City and 8.5.
8.5?
8.5 decks. Yeah.
Alright.
That's fair.
Now,
That's fair.
I agree with both of your points. And again, remaster disappointment.
Mm.
But again, the battle damage is really interesting to track
Yeah.
throughout the game.
Yeah.
I always enjoy doing that. I think Arkham City looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I think the character models are amazing. They're consistent. No character feels out of place.
Mm.
Nothing like that. No 2D fire textures. So I'm actually gonna score this a 9.
A 9.
I think.
9. All right.
Ooh. All right. So that puts us at 25 divided by 3. 8.3. I guess we'll round that down to 8.
8. Right
Yeah.
out. That brings us to a total score of 25 dicks out of
25
100
dicks,
dicks.
And just to note, we always round down, by the way.
I mean, are we following general mathematical rules?
No, we're not.
So
We're top
it's-
deck.
So 8.6.
So 8.6 will round down to 8.5.
Oh, okay. What about 8.75?
That'll round down to 8.5 as well.
What about 8.9?
That'll round down to 8.5 as well.
All right. Well, there we go. That's the rules. Thought I'd test that.
We just have one math major, therefore we are allowed to do this, alright? We can trigger him all we want. It's just me and Adrian on this.
All right. So we scored graphics and technicalities 8 decks out of 10 decks.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
Then yeah, we'll return shortly with what is it? What are we coming back with?
We'll be coming back for some world design and atmosphere.
I have the thinking capacity of a goldfish, don't I?
I'm well aware.
But yeah, world design and atmosphere up next. And we're back with world design and atmosphere. And I guess we have quite a few things to say about this one, don't we?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's definitely a bit of a change from Asylum, that's for sure.
Big change, very big change.
Big change.
Yeah.
Very big change indeed.
I mean, you have a huge contrast there, right? With like Asylum's claustrophobia and like the openness of Arkham City, yet its ability to still render you a little helpless, right?
Yeah, because again, you are trapped.
You are. Even though it's a beautiful open world and quite a few places to visit for such an old game.
Yeah, exactly. It's surprisingly big for, again, yeah, like I said.
But yeah, the world design was just incredibly done. I feel, you know, with some of the maps and some of the environments. God, I'm forgetting a few. You know what, Danny? Well, give me an example.
So there's a couple of like iconic landmarks.
Yeah.
In Arkham City, for
Yeah.
example, Ace Chemicals. Who can forget about that?
Very
Ajman, you're a comic nerd. Do you know if Cyrus Pinckney's museum is canon? for the comics?
Which one? Which museum exactly?
Cyrus Pinckney's
That's
museum, where the penguin hides out.
yeah.
Or is that Rocksteady original?
I don't think that, even if it's in the comics, it's not prominent. Like, it might be, but I haven't read any major Batman comics where it's a big thing. So maybe, like, it has been popularized in Arkham. Like, if it's in the comics, it has been popularized in the Arkham games, but if it's something new, like, then it's new. Like, it's completely original.
Okay.
I mean, then even so, boys, what we have to consider is that they made these maps and these areas memorable in a way, right? And I think that comes down to good world design. Because how could I even forget? I should have mentioned this earlier. Even Crime Alley, right? Such an iconic thing, such an iconic place. Sorry, from the comics, and they executed it perfectly. With the chalk around the dead, like where Martha and Thomas's dead bodies were supposed to be Batman's parents' dead bodies. The recording,
Also,
the lighting.
I think Crime Alley is the one and only place that's present in all all 4 Arkham games. It's present in every single one of them.
But
every single one.
You can't visit Crime Alley in Asylum, right?
Or Night.
I mean, it's there in the hallucination.
It's
recreated so it is present in a way. Like even in it's for a different video, but in Arkham Knight, it's an illusion as well. Like it's a hallucination in Arkham Knight as well.
That is true.
So it is present in all 4 Arkham games, and it's a unique thing. Like, Crime Alley is something very integral to Batman's lore, whether it be the comics, games, movies, TV shows, whatsoever. And I will gladly say that Rocksteady did a tremendously good job with incorporating it in Arkham City.
Yeah, that is very fair to say. Yeah.
Yeah, in the story mode, it's a lot more dramatic because at one point in the story, Hugo Strange leaves you a message.
Yeah, how does it feel? Just that.
Because he already knows Batman's identity, so he knows why he is Batman, and he knows that he's doing it because of his parents' death, and he kind of taunts him over that fact, and it's brutal as well as touching at the same time.
It's a very heartfelt moment. Heartfelt moment.
Yeah. I would definitely say that aside from, I don't know, the Penguins Museum, the Steel Mill, or the Monarch Theater, those are all great locations, great world design.
Same with the GCPD and Solomon Wayne Courthouse.
Aside from all those ones, Crime Alley is my favorite spot.
Obviously,
because
it's
of
very
how
iconic.
I mean, as a Batman fan, I gotta go with Crime Alley. It's the birthplace of Batman. So,
that is true.
Yeah.
It was a very well executed environment, I guess. And alongside that, you have the color differences across the maps.
Yeah, it kind of goes from blue when you're in the Bowery, it kind of goes into a slow grey, into orange, / brown when you're in the industrial district, which is quite interesting because it gives you this vibe when you think back in your memories of the Bowery. Blue, the industrial district.
And I think one more thing we should probably mention is when you play the DLC Harlequin's Revenge.
That's
there's a huge color change, a lot more blacks and reds.
Yeah, which definitely complements kind of Harley's theme.
And sorrow,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the theme of sorrow. She considers herself a widow, at that point. So it kind of plays into that factor as well, with that whole color scheme.
And I guess that's just, again, one thing that Rocksteady's good at, setting an environment up in such a way where the mood and the theme really gets across to the player, right? And I think it was very good of them to, put in those little things, those little subtle sort of nudges towards pushing a player into thinking in a certain way. And I think it was very well done. I will, however, say that the atmosphere in Asylum is different.
More, I think it's better.
Better, you say?
better because when you think Arkham Asylum, I immediately think, oh, green, and I'm standing on the edge of a building and I'm looking out the asylum. When I think of Arkham City, I don't really think that. I don't think there's. How would you describe atmosphere, Algebra? I've always found this quite difficult to describe.
Like the atmosphere for a city,
Yeah,
like city specifically.
or just atmosphere in general. Like I don't really know how to describe that in a game.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think when people talk about atmosphere, it's a more of a collective term. It's not just one thing, so
Yeah.
that's why it gets hard to describe it.
Yeah.
So
True.
if you consider everything, like Arkham City and Asylum share that trapped feeling. Like Asylum was about Batman being trapped on Arkham Asylum, on Arkham
Yeah.
Island, and he had
Yeah.
to make his way through the story and whatnot. And in Arkham City, there's this interesting factor. Like I like to think of it like this. Batman's like at Gotham. Arkham City is basically Gotham.
Part
Like
of
it's
Gotham,
an older
yeah.
part of Gotham. It used to be Gotham. Like it used to be like a living and breathing part of Arkham. Like living and breathing part of Gotham City. That is.
Yeah.
And you have this feeling like you're stuck in this prison and with all these criminals, and you're much closer to the rest of the Gotham, Like
Yeah,
when
true.
if you look at
Closer
the
to
surroundings,
Yeah.
it as a player, like it doesn't like it's not exactly something Batman feels, but as a player, you see how close you are to the actual Gotham, but regardless of how much you want to explore that side of Gotham, you as a player are trapped.
Yeah. That is
And
fair.
that creates this atmosphere where you're isolated. Like it's an eerie atmosphere, honestly. Like
Yeah, it's like being
It's-
stuck in a huge mansion. Right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the whole idea
it's a
of
brooding atmosphere as a
is
whole, in my
the
opinion. That is.
level of immersion.
And I think City executed that really well.
I think Asylum executed it better. I felt much more immersed in Arkham Asylum than I did feel in Arkham City.
Here's my take on it, right? The fact that City's so big, well, obviously, it's a bloody city. The fact that Arkham City is so big and yet has all these different underlying themes in these different areas, I feel like that, to me, helps with immersion, well, at least for me as a player, because, I'm gliding around the city, I'm seeing all these different things, right? And at the same time, I'm feeling the vibe of each place through the color scheme and through, well, the soundtrack or whatever, right? And most of all, just how it feels when you move around, like in the Bowery versus like in Park Row or whatever. And each sort of district has its own quirks and its own sort of but its own sort of rules that you should follow when you're roaming around, right? For example, when you're in the Bowery, you need to be extra bloody careful because there's armed thugs everywhere, right? Versus if you're in like Amusement Mile is pretty deserted, right?
Yeah.
And that's more of a you do you type of a thing, glide around the water or whatnot. And I feel like that level of just having different personalities in different areas of the city, I think that really adds to me going, oh my god, this is a city. This is a place I'm trapped in with its own set of rules. And for me, I think that helps with immersing myself in the game and the atmosphere, And that's why I feel that whilst I love Asylum's atmosphere, for me at least, City did it in a different and, if anything, a little bit more effective of a way.
I'm so offended, Nagara.
Yeah, this is how you trigger Daniel. You say anything bad about Asylum, he starts getting worked up.
I'm with Megs over here, regarding like Arkham City's overall world design and atmosphere. I prefer that.
Don't get me wrong. I don't hate.
Obviously.
I get that. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying that Arkham City's atmosphere is it's the next this was at a time where Arkham Knight didn't exist, like Arkham Origins didn't exist, so this was the next best thing to having Batman in Gotham. Like in an actual Gotham.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was the next best thing. So I'm kind of biased towards that, I guess you could say that.
I mean,
So-
I wouldn't say biased. It's just it's what you feel, and I think for something like atmosphere, really, you can't have a hard and fast rule to judging it.
Yeah.
It's a very subjective sort of opinion. But yeah, I guess that's our take on it, right, boys? Are we missing anything?
Yeah, I mean, do you remember when you're up on Wonder Tower and you look down at Arkham City and you see like the entire amusement mile that's
Yeah.
been what do you call it? Subverse. Like you can see like how it's completely flooded and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's really
Submerged.
interesting. It looks
Yeah.
completely different when you see it from up above, and I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
a really interesting design choice on Rocksteady's part because they didn't have to flood anything, but they felt like it added a bit of
Character.
character and says, well, Hugo Strange doesn't care if anyone drowns.
Yeah, and that's again one of the reasons why I love the atmosphere in City. So unique and so quirky.
Yeah, that's true. Then you have your outer bounds. So from Arkham City, you can see like Arkham Asylum in the distance. You can
Yeah.
see Wayne Tower. You can see Gotham City Bank. You can see all the other stuff. You can see the cars moving if you get up really high.
Yeah. Or if you use the glitch and glide out.
Yeah, they are boxes.
Yeah, there is a glitch. I don't know if it's been fixed or not, but it's on a
it
YouTube
hasn't.
channel called Batman.
It hasn't.
Huh?
It hasn't. You can still
It
glide.
hasn't,
You can
yeah.
still glide out of Arkham City if you use the.
Yeah, I
appreciate
think I
it.
first saw it on the YouTube channel called Batman Arkham Videos. I
Oh.
think.
What a lad.
Yeah,
Our Lord
that's
and
where I
Savior.
first saw it. Like, yeah, the Lord and Savior. Honestly, like for Batman Arkham on YouTube, like he's the Lord and Savior. Like, definitely. So, I loved seeing that too. That was a cool thing, like having that out of bounds thing. Even though you couldn't do much except gliding, it was still cool to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anything else we want to cover, Meg?
Yeah. Let me think. Not really. I think we touched everything, right?
Yeah. And while there are some outside realms like Park Robbery, Amusement Park Industrial District, you've also got your color-coded districts like Wonder City, Slash Tower,
Yeah.
Museum Cities and Steelmore, which you also associate with colors
Yeah.
to me, which is very similar to Arkham Asylum again, because Arkham Asylum's buildings have their own
Sort of color scheme.
color schemes.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting, which I mentioned last podcast as well. So yeah.
But yeah, I guess we can jump straight to scoring. Dan,
Yep.
you wanna go first?
Sure. So I love the atmosphere in City, but again, it doesn't really live up to par to me with Asylum. Don't get me wrong though, the world design is beautiful. I love like the red and black accents of like those Hugo Strange and the Tiger Forces posters.
Yeah. The
Whatever,
big
I think-
badness. Yeah.
I think I was really helped with the atmosphere. So I'm prepared to give this a 8.
An 8. All right. Ajman, what about
All
yourself?
right. Yeah, same point as Danny. I would I found it to be quite like appealing as a whole, given all the points we made in this session. So it's a wonderful world as a whole, and I would probably give it an 8.5. Yeah,
8.5.
an 8.5. Yeah.
All right. Let me think. Is there anything that I do not like about the atmosphere and world design in Arkham City? I think it's great. I think there's a lot of things you can do. Does it get too overwhelming sometimes with the amount of things you can do in terms of the world? The amount of places that you have to visit and look at.
Mhm.
Almost, very, very close, almost. But it still is enjoyable at all times for me. And I think I've always loved traversing around in Arkham City. Even sometimes even more so than Arkham Knight. Even though Arkham Knight is this amazing, beautiful game. I just love the character in City. It's beautiful.
Mm.
And yeah, with all of that said, I can't find, at least from my score sheet, I can't find a bad, except for that overwhelming part, which is why I feel I have to be honest to myself and give this a 9.5.
9.5. Alright, bit of a suck up, but.
Oh, alright.
It's only fair.
Alright.
So, overall, that brings us to an 8.5 average.
Yep.
Alright. Nice. Not a bad score. Not a bad score. So that brings us to a total of 33.5 decks. Out of 100 decks. We're going up quick.
And I think the next one is also going to be a huge whopper, because it's character design and voice acting.
This is going to have quite a bit of input.
This is gonna pick the score up, man. Oh, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, curse you! Never let us mark a game though. But yeah, that's it for world design and voice acting, and you'll hear us shortly with character design and voice. Wait, did I just say world design and voice acting?
You said world design and voice acting.
I need help.
I think. Don't take my word for it, audience.
I need help. But yeah. That was world design and atmosphere, and we'll be back next with character design and voice acting.
Hello, welcome back to the Top Dig podcast. Now we're going to be covering some character design and voice acting. Obviously, it's going to be a very automatically going to be a high-scored topic for us because we love Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill to bits.
Again, we're trying to be as unbiased as we can, and surprisingly, some of us do have a few flaws. Well, all of us, I think, do have a few flaws in the game with this section.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy just carry this game all the time,
Definitely.
right?
I think better than
I completely agree.
But yeah, because it really gives more depth to their relationship as Batman and Joker. Sorry.
Can't agree more.
But yeah, I guess let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. There's no way to quantify how good their voice acting is as these two characters. I think we've said that enough and more times. There's probably enough and more fan praise out there.
I don't think there's any better voice actor.
Yeah.
For Batman or for Joker.
Yeah.
Than Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, for sure. Ajmain, is there anything you want to add that we haven't said earlier about Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, sorry.
Not really, because they're freaking awesome, like, as a whole.
Yeah, the man said it.
I can't find any flaws with either of their performances. Like, they're both they're both fantastic, honestly. Like, they have been doing this for a while now. They made their big break with the voice acting thing with Batman the Animated Series. And then Arkham Asylum happened, and in between that, there were a few animated other stuff. But aside from that, like the Justice League cartoon and stuff, but in the Arkham games, that is, they were fantastic in Asylum, and they were surely fantastic in City.
Yeah.
I think that, like, the dynamic was a bit different this time because, Batman and Joker were both dying.
It was an interesting thing to see.
Yeah. So, on one hand, you're determined to stop Joker, and on the other, you're also determined to save each other's lives. Because you have, alright, so it is a bit true that you're more, focused on saving your own life and Gotham's life, because Gotham's also poisoned and everything. And that dynamic, like, when you're talking with Joker...
Yeah, the dialogue really sort of fleshes that out, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it definitely does flesh out all those details in a neat manner. And I think my favorite dialogue, like, aside from the ending, my other favorite dialogue would have to be where, Joker, like, quote-unquote Joker and Batman fight.
Mm.
And Joker says something like, it's about time I taught you a new lesson. And then Batman's like, there's nothing you can teach me, Joker. And the way Conroy delivers that with such energy, with such passion, and with such skill, there are very few voice actors who have Conroy's skill.
And really personify that character, right?
Exactly. He is Batman at the end of the day. Conroy is our Batman because of these games and the animated series. And this
100%.
one line has stuck with me for years because of how great it was and how well it was delivered. So,
and Kevin's ability
it's one of my
to
favorites.
play both Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Hush.
Yeah, because he played Hush as well, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Amazing voice actor, amazing man. And obviously we cannot forget
Mark
Hamill. Wow, just so satisfying to see him as Joker in this second iteration of the games as well, because it was a very mortal Joker, wasn't it? Because this guy was dying.
Very different to Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Asylum Joker was a lot more carefree, and I'm just gonna kill people just because I wanna, and just because I have nothing better to do. And City's Joker was, I'm gonna kill people because I need to stay alive and have my last laugh.
Yeah.
And it really it really delivered in that sense, as in Mark Hamill's performance really delivered, because we felt that in all the lines he was saying, in all the cut scenes and all the bits of dialogue, and we still got that crazy psycho Joker just somewhat searching for a friend in Batman.
Yeah.
With the
desperation from Joker as well.
Yeah, with the voicemails and stuff. Ajay, you remember that bit? Like the voicemails the Joker used to leave?
I do.
Give me the cure.
I do remember
We've
that
already
part.
got the cure.
Yeah.
I think that was beautiful.
Yeah, and just the jokes, man. God. What was it? Hand me the cure, Batman. It's not like you have a spot in or something. I mean, it's not like your girl's alive anymore, is it? Or something.
Yeah.
Something. It's like, oops, too soon.
Yeah, too soon indeed.
I never get tired of listening to Mark Hamill as Joker. He is amazing, absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
And I guess on that same point, we can talk about the character design, right? Like the character models and whatnot. Beautiful. Wow, like the face and whatnot. The when Joker's poisoned, like the corrosion or whatever it is in his face.
Yeah.
And even Batman's face after he gets poisoned. The battle damage, all of that. It's very well thought out character design.
Yeah.
And it goes above and beyond in the department of comic accuracy, I feel. Najmeen, would you agree with that?
I do. And I will add this little experience I had seeing Joker, sick Joker for the first time while playing the game. I was genuinely terrified of that guy. Joker's scary as he is, he's a clown who is scary, and with all that, what do you call those marks on his face, like those burns on his face,
like
the
scars.
Yeah,
you
well,
wanna know
not
how
just
I
those
got
scars,
these scars. Stop.
Is it wise to call them blisters? Is it correct
Yeah,
if I call them
blisters,
blisters or
right?
something?
That's
Yeah.
the word
So
for it.
seeing all those blisters, I was like, oh god, Joker can get scarier than that. And I know that there are scarier versions of Joker in a comic or in another animated movie or something, but he was scary. That design was both very reminiscent of his appearance in Asylum, but also very different.
Yeah, because it was a different take on the guy. Totally different take on the guy.
I loved it. That was scary and it was memorable as well.
I think another thing that we need to bring up when it comes to pros with voice acting in this game is Mr. Freeze. Oh man, Mr. Freeze. Wow. What's the guy's name? What's the guy's name, Dan?
Maurice Lamar. I think that's Lamar. Lamarche.
Lamarche. Yeah, and his performance as Mr. Freeze was also something that made me love the game even more. You know, specifically that one cutscene before you start the boss battle, you will die, and
Yeah.
you know the
Yeah.
goggle is looking in. Wow, very believable performance on the voice actor's part because it really sold the character for me. You know, it was this man desperate to save his wife, and he was gonna go to hell and back, you know, to do it. He was
Yeah.
gonna fight the bat if he had to. And on that same note, good God, the character design, that suit to this date makes me cry.
Oh my god. He has the best villain design in the whole game.
For sure, because that suit is just beautiful, right? Like with the
It
way
is.
that the fluid clicks in and the lights come on, and
I'm like, this Mr. Freeze is like, this is the epitome of classic Mr. Freeze, you know, with the gun and
Yeah.
everything.
yeah, with the suit
It's
and
a
the
s-
red-eyed goggles and the
When you think Mr. Freeze,
The
this is what
ironic
you
thing
think.
is that people always find the comic version to be the most iconic, right? Because it's the original version.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And like in 2011, like when DC had their comics and everything, he still had his classic look in the comics, but then the new 52 reboot happened in the comics, and Mr. Freeze's costume in the new 52 is oh dear, it is absolute trash. Like he has no armor on his arms,
Huh?
and like he has armor on his torso only, and he has like a small gun instead, and it looks like he's a skinny guy.
So
Like
that,
he's
it's
a
more
nurse.
Captain Cold than Mr. Freeze, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like, what if Mr. Freeze became Captain Cold? And for many years, Mr. Freeze had that ridiculous look in the comics. But we were all pissed. Like every comic fan, every Batman fan was pissed at like DC for making that change.
Yeah.
But then we realized, you know what? We have the Arkham games, and that gave us the best Mr. Freeze
Period.
ever.
Yeah.
Period. It's mind-boggling. Voice acting phenomenal, character design phenomenal, and boss fight phenomenal. I think we discussed it.
Yeah,
in the
we
boss
discussed
fight
that
section.
again. Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna like go out and say that after Batman and Joker, he is the best character overall.
And I think one of the best implemented characters, right?
Yeah.
In the game
Yeah.
series,
That's actually a good point.
Like
because it is
one of the best implemented characters.
it is very badass seeing Mr. Freeze with the suit and whatnot, and very very humanizing too with the dialogue. Please, Batman, save my wife, and it's such a well done character in the games. And honestly, I don't think it gets the love that it deserves sometimes. The voice actor as well. But yeah, that was Mr. Freeze. I think that gets a lot more points to the specific subtopic on the game. But one thing that I believe, which is where the game will get marked down in terms of character design and voice acting, is race.
Right. Yeah.
I've mentioned this
Yeah.
earlier when we were talking about plot
Yeah.
and script, but I feel like the script was limiting for Ra's al Ghul, and I feel like that also affected the voice acting, or maybe the voice acting affected the script. I don't know. But either way, I had a problem with Ra's character.
Yeah.
It wasn't as Ra's al Ghul as it needs to be, because you know the head of the demon is supposed to be this mystic, scary, insanely smart guy, right? You know, it's supposed to instill fear and even almost instill fear in even Batman, because that's how big Ra's al Ghul is, right, Ajman?
Yep. As far as his character design goes, it was decent. It was comic
decent.
accurate.
Yeah, it was alright.
It was alright. I liked it actually, and him with the sword and everything, with the facial hair and the
with the
hairstyle.
beard and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, he was comic accurate, and I like that part. It's just the, what do you call it? The voice acting. It falls flat on his face
it
sometimes.
definitely did.
I mean, he seemed like a one-dimensional guy sometimes because of the voice acting.
Yeah,
Like,
and
he was
Ra's al Ghul isn't one-dimensional. That's
not at all.
a
Oh
very
god, he's
bad. It's a very misguided line of script in that case, because that's not who Ra's is.
Yeah.
definitely.
Apart from Freeze, apart from Rage, we've also got like Penguin.
Ooh, that was very
Yeah.
well done again.
I think that's very.
Nolan North.
I think,
Nolan North.
Yeah. That was a very accurate comic portrayal.
Very true.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah, thank
definitely.
you to Nolan North. For
Hi,
that one.
Batman, you wanker.
Yeah, exactly. Harley got a voice actor change
From Asylum.
Yeah,
what's Asylum's voice actor name again? Ashby?
I think it was Arlene Sorkin.
That's right.
Yeah, she
Um,
was from. Yeah.
And it's Tara Strong.
Tara Strong. Yeah.
Yeah, she stays as the voice actor for Harley in City and Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Wait, does she voice Harley in Origins like Harleen Quinzel? I don't know.
I'm not
maybe she
sure.
does.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's a very
we'll
smart
find out
name.
soon.
But yeah, I liked Harley in Arkham
I
City.
know you did.
But no, I think it was a very good. It was very well acted out. In terms of the script and the dialogue, it was true to the comics again. And yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about that.
Talia was okay.
Nothing special there.
Nothing special.
Nothing
pretty,
special.
Pretty unremarkable
Yeah.
voice acting, to be honest. Catwoman was. I would associate that voice with Catwoman, I think.
Yeah, but again,
in a
Yeah.
normal setting.
it's just for me. It's all right.
Definitely.
It's all right.
Fair enough.
Nothing
What about-
bad, nothing good.
yeah, what about Poison Ivy?
Same.
Same. Yeah. Hugo Strange?
Good.
Ooh, that's
It was
good because
memorable.
I was really getting pissed off at him, and that means he did a good job.
So thank you to Corey Burton for that one. Very good acting on
Yeah.
your behalf.
Yeah.
I can still like, aside from Conroy, Hamill, and Nolan and North's portrayals, I think I remember, what do you call it? Hugo Strange's voice acting the most.
Yeah.
After all those
Yeah.
guys, it was very memorable. Very good acting.
Protocol 10 will commence in 10 hours.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's very hits home
yeah.
for a lot
for
of
sure.
Arkham veterans who haven't played Arkham City in a while, I'm sure.
Oh, one thing I think that's worth mentioning is the fact that Troy Baker voice acts Two-Face and Robin, right?
Robin.
And whilst both
Yeah.
those characters were, nothing too special about them, they still were very well executed, right?
And very different.
And
Yeah.
very different.
Also, aside from him, Nolan North not only voiced the Penguin, he also voiced the Black Mask.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
And also the
Incident.
Tiger Guards and some of the Joker thugs. He voiced some of the thugs, some of the Tiger Guards. And more prominently, he obviously, like, his main roles were playing Cobblepot,
Hmm.
aka Penguin, and Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask.
That's also interesting,
Yeah.
But I think one reason why I want to bring up Troy Baker now is because obviously we're going to touch more on this in Arkham Origins, but I think he's also a tremendous voice actor for his performance in Origins, and I think this really is a nice, is another nice thing that I can add to when I talk about him in Arkham Origins. But yeah, Troy Baker, amazing job as well. I feel like we should say. What else? All the character designs for Batman's archvillains were very well done. Penguin's monocle.
Yeah,
keeping it
Penguin's
there.
monocle. It had a very unique
Two-Face was good.
original element to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a standard monocle like
Yeah.
you'd expect. It was the monocle that Zaz
Yeah,
implemented into his skull, and now it's got like a permanent monocle.
and what Ajmain said about Two-Face. Yeah, Two-Face was very well done. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially his first shot, like, not the beginning, but when
Heads
he
and
captures
tails, kitty
Catwoman.
cat.
And when he captures Catwoman, that there's
Yeah.
this dynamic, like, you first see his normal side,
Yeah,
it's his normal voice,
yeah.
and then instantly it's the other side, it's fantastic, and I love his character design overall.
Quite well done.
Like, yeah. But of course, Mr. Freeze takes the cake, like for the best, like villain.
Yeah,
I think.
obviously. I can't lie to myself. It has to be Mr. Freeze. But yeah, I guess
What about What about guys like Grundy? What do you think about Grundy? Grundy's design?
Good.
I mean,
Good.
I didn't read enough stuff about Grundy, like, before I played City. So this was a very new character to me. I just thought, oh, big zombie guy. And then I was like, alright.
As for me, I was familiar with him from the Injustice games, like Injustice Gods Among Us, because I played these games later on. So I first got introduced to Injustice and then Arkham. So that's how I knew him. But yeah, he used to be more of an obscure Batman villain, but he was comic accurate, but it wasn't anything special.
Yeah,
It
it was
wasn't anything
all right
special.
though. Nothing bad that I considered off the bat.
It's
about
like
his design.
it's like Grey Hulk. Like there is a
Yeah.
Grey Hulk in Marvel, but with like ripped pants and some
Also
clothes on.
dead.
That's it.
also dead. Very
Also
dead.
dead, like
Yeah.
a dead Hulk. Yeah, that's it with him. So
One thing I
Yeah.
guess we've forgotten sort of is giving some credit to the thug design, right? Because it was different. It was very
It was a huge change to Asylum.
yeah, because you have different types of
Everyone
thugs.
was wearing the same outfit, which
Yeah.
made sense because it
Yeah,
was
because
like
everyone's in the
But,
asylum.
yeah.
But with
Um,
City, you
Oh.
had the Two-Face thugs, you had the Penguin thugs, the Joker thugs, the standard issue inmates, and the Tiger Guards. Maybe we're missing some there too, but wow, it was
very
good.
different designs. Like the penguin
Yeah.
bags would have like the balaclava
Yeah.
and the jacket with Penguin's logo on it. Two-Face would be obviously split down the middle with masks on.
And the Joker thugs would always have face painted on, like clowns.
And then, general t-shirts, whatever.
yeah, I particularly liked Harley's thugs
Oh,
and
yeah.
her DLC.
That was also nicely done.
Very
yes.
iconic. Like
Yeah.
with her insignia, like with her I think it's called the Jester symbol or something, like the Harley Quinn symbol.
Yeah.
The diamond, right?
Yeah, the diamonds. Yeah, so it's got the diamonds on the thugs. It looks really iconic. I love the design.
Yeah.
It kind of stuck with me.
all
Love that
around,
thug design.
I guess, just good things to say. It's just what
Yeah.
we were talking about earlier with Raish. That does weigh it down a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Because I guess we might as well move on to scoring then, right? Because we're
Yeah.
already talking about it.
Might as well. We're
Um,
already pretty much there.
Since I haven't gone first yet, I'll go first this time.
Alright.
All right. How am I going to score? All right. So lots and lots of ups to the voice acting and character design in this game. Lots of things that really just take the cake. But why I can't give it a full 10 out of 10 is because of Raish, and because Raish is such a significant character to the script.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And his lack of really the lack in script with his dialogue, with regards to his dialogue, really just didn't sell his character to me, right? And given that he was a key character, that really is gonna leave a mark on my score, I feel. But I have to balance it out for how good everything else was, because this is
Yeah.
just one thing I'm finding bad. Which is why I'm gonna be true to myself and say 9.5 decks.
No, I was thinking the same thing.
Really, 9.5
I
decks.
was already going to go for that. So, what about you, Ashman?
Well, here's a little surprise for you all. I'm also gonna go with 9.5.
Really?
Really?
We're all on the same board.
That's how good I
Yeah.
average on that one.
I only have a problem with what do you call it? Raish.
Raish, yeah.
Like Raish is. I'm pretty sure the voice actor tried his best, but maybe it's just the dialogue and stuff that like weighed him down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Probably.
he was
probably.
okay.
Yeah.
He was okay, but he could have been better, and it was just a low point, I guess.
But yeah, I guess that's 9.5 decks for voice design. For character
Voice
design.
and character.
Character
Voice
design.
design.
That's right.
That's the
Voice
Yeah.
design and character.
Not voice design.
Yep. Boy, oh boy, I need to get something. God, is it alcohol? Maybe I need alcohol. But yeah, that's it for character design and voice acting, and yeah, we'll be
Well, BB.
we'll be back next with sound design and game score. And we're back with sound design and game score. As always, I don't think we need to stress on the importance of a good game score. Right?
Yeah, I think all the Arkham games live up to an amazing standard.
For sure.
And yeah, I mean, Arkham City is obviously amazing in its game score. It takes a much more operatic approach rather than gothic like Asylum did. It's
Yeah.
Like
That's opera. That's exactly what opera sounds like.
Yeah. Not as good as that though.
Yeah. This is much better. Danny's certified, by the way. He's like he's sung in like the Sydney Opera House and shit. All right, you don't mess with him.
And here I am doing a podcast. What am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good game score, very good game score. But we have some things to say about it. But before we get into that, we just want to say we have a few specific pieces that all three of us have decided on.
Much like last time.
Much like the last episode, that we really like and that I think are the most memorable pieces for each of us. Before I tell you what those are, small apology, we won't be able to play those pieces for you in this video because our first episode got flagged for copyright issues because, YouTube and whatnot. So we'll leave the links in the description below and you can listen to those pieces through those links. But yeah, enough about that. Let's talk about the pieces that each of us like. Ajmain, you want to go first with what you like?
Right, sure. For me, it's the main theme overall for Arkham City, especially the one you hear when you boot the game and you get the music in the menu, in the main menu, and I don't know if it's just me, but I've come to associate Batman as a whole with that theme, like that opening theme. I've heard, exactly. Yeah, it's so I've heard countless Batman themes over in my life. I've seen lots of different animated shows. I've seen Joe his theme in other shows like Justice League and in other movies, the Dark Knight trilogy and the old Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher movies. They had various themes for Batman.
Yeah.
Arkham Asylum, the game before Arkham City, it also had a fantastic theme. But there's something about this orchestral, is it the opera one or the what do you exactly call this?
It's an orchestra, I think, right?
Orchestra. Well, it's opera, isn't it? Because you do have.
But the main theme was an operatic. It was.
It had some opera in it.
It did. But it was mainly. But it was mainly, the.
Yeah, but every single Predator thing as well.
Yeah.
They're always built up opera. When
True.
Yeah. So on the whole, comparing the themes, Batman's themes from those movies, even the original Batman theme, the 1989 Batman movie that had a fantastic theme. Even with that considered, even when I'm considering that, I still prefer this opening Arkham City theme, the main theme. It's gorgeous. It's it represents Batman as a whole.
I can agree with you there.
You feel the ups and downs. You can feel your spirits being lifted when you listen to it. You feel the adrenaline rushing through you.
Yeah.
And the feeling is second to none. As a fan, I can definitely say that. I will to summarize how much I love it as a whole. I'll just say that many times when I boot the game, I just listen to the opening music in the main menu for 15 minutes. I just don't start the game. I just sit there and listen to the theme song over and over again, and sometimes look at the character models while listening to it.
Is that before
or after? So exhilarating.
Definitely before, right? Oh God.
Yep. So,
but no, all jokes aside, before you call us huge nerds down in the
Yeah.
comments, right? You have to admit that is a beauty to the themes in all the Arkham
Of course, yeah. Each one is very unique. You know, Asylum follows the Gothic. City follows the.
games. City really did build up well from Asylum's soundtrack
did.
for the main theme. At least.
Absolutely did.
Then Origins went a
Yeah.
bit Christmas.
Yeah, that was nice.
And then Night went futuristic question mark.
But no, more about City, right? For me, one sound piece, one score that I love, well, the most at least that I love the most from all the pieces in City, is the track that's playing when Batman walks out of the Monarch Theater with the Joker's body. You know, when all the thugs are gasping and Harley starts crying, and it's just pure opera. It's just whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But it's so powerful when I watch it. I get chills. You know, I was just listening to it and I got chills, even without the visuals. And I think it's a very well done piece because it really just gave us a conclusion. You know, it's like, yeah, Joker's dead. That's Batman carrying his corpse. You know, it was a beautiful, beautiful summary to what happened in the Monarch Theater.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love that piece. Whenever I listen to it, man, I get sent back. I love that piece so much. But yeah, that's my piece. And FYI, that piece is called No Punchline.
Yeah. On top of that, like the lighting in there, I know this is about soundtrack and stuff, but like the lighting in there was very powerful.
Sets the mood.
And stuff like that. My one that I chose was the end credits theme. I mean, it's very humble is probably the wrong word, but it's
humbling.
It's gentle. It's like a conclusion.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, and then it goes the dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun, which kind of makes you think it's not over, which is a really interesting kind of like psychological thing going on.
I mean, it wasn't over.
It wasn't over. You've still got 2 more games, one of which is not worth mentioning. Hey, Dutch mate.
Oh, I can't wait for the sauce bar. But anyways, the end credits. That was a good piece.
Yeah.
Good piece. Again, we'll put the links in the description for all of y'all if you want to listen to those pieces. And we're sorry we can't play it, but yeah, you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But yeah, alongside this, I think there's something I have to say, and I think Daniel is probably going to join me on this.
Yeah.
I found the game score for Arkham City, whilst being amazing, to be less memorable to me than Arkham Asylum was. And I think Ajmeen disagrees with me here. Right? I want to hear what you have to say.
Are you like specifically talking about which part of it was that?
Like in general.
Just less memorable than Asylum's.
Like everything that you get in Arkham City is, for me, less memorable.
So you're referring to it as a whole,
yeah,
not just a specific one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to disagree with you on that. As a whole, I keep on like listening to Arkham City like in my head. Like if I think about Arkham, the first thing I hear when it comes to the score is the Arkham City score, like the main theme, and it kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, that's
fair. It kind of got stuck with me. And Asylum's is pretty nostalgic. I'm not gonna lie about that. When I when I was replaying Asylum to get the platinum trophy, for the PS4 version of the game on my PS4, it felt nostalgic hearing that from Asylum. I'll give you that, but I don't hear that. I don't hear Asylum's theme when I think about Arkham games. I hear Arkham City's one, maybe because I found
Arkham City
its
first.
execution. Yeah, the Arkham City's one more memorable because it got executed better, in my opinion.
All right.
So I found it to be more memorable in that case.
Danny, what's your justification?
I agree, and I already know my score, but I'm not going to mention it yet because we have some other things to cover. And while City is very good, I love its soundtrack. I think the amount I think how good Asylum soundtrack was is just so amazing that it downgrades City a little bit in proportional scaling.
I have a slight reasoning for mine and Daniel's opinion, and that is Asylum's a shorter game, right? There's less things to remember. And I think that helps with the soundtrack being more memorable, at least from a psychological standpoint.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I think of Asylum soundtrack, those three things that we talked about in the last video pop into my head. The overworld, the theme in intensive treatment, and the Batcave animation. Like I hear those distinctly, and the reason why I can is because Asylum is a short enough game for me to remember those vividly, right? And I think that's why the soundtrack for Asylum is more memorable for myself at least, and I'm guessing for Daniel too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I that's just my justification for the whole thing. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to debate on, I guess. And we'd love to see anyone down in the comments maybe chip in a little on this debate and let us know what you think.
Because we do plan on making like a response video if we ever get to the point where we have enough comments to.
Yeah. I mean, if we ever get a few more people in, and if y'all want to hear us debate more on this, by all means, let the crowd get what they want.
Yeah.
But yeah, soundtrack wise, that's about it. But we have a lot more to talk about in terms of sound design, right? Like the general sounds, like the clickety clacks of the gadgets and the whoosh of the boomerangs and whatnot.
How does it go again?
That's the wreck.
Thanks. Yeah, every time you unyield it.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm amazing at
So I probably go.
Yeah. So this is what happens when YouTube copyrights us, right? We gotta have to make all the effects on our.
Copyright. You know what? Copyright. Yeah. You know what? YouTube. Next time, if you copyright us again, we are going to Foley the entire soundtrack of Arkham, and we're going to upload it and force people to watch it.
Oh my god!
Right?
So if y'all don't want to hear, I mean, obviously, I know y'all want to hear that, right? Unprecedented talent over here, but you don't want to tire us out too much, right? So just make sure they don't copyright us again, I guess. But yeah, that's in terms of sound design, very well thought out sounds for all the gadgets and whatnot. Very satisfying. But I think one thing I've noticed is in terms of combat sounds, maybe not as satisfying as Asylum sometimes.
Yeah. Again, the combat sounds in Asylum were amazing. Like it was very satisfying combat to me. Just as a sound design of going from one person to another. I mean, I know Batman's doing the thing, but again, like just the impact sounds of Batman's fist or foot on the henchman's head in Asylum was much more satisfying. That the kind of the blunt, I can't actually really mimic it because you can't. It's like a slap, but
yeah.
Like you're,
it's like punching a wall, sort of, right?
Yeah, but yeah, it's soft, but it's not a slap.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman doesn't go around spanking his thugs.
I wouldn't disagree with him if he did, to be honest.
Yeah.
Spank me all night long.
Give me the cure.
You've been a naughty thug. Oh god.
Proceeds to knock him out.
That's our sexual fantasy right there. God.
Yeah.
Getting spanked by Batman.
Well, I'm glad this podcast is years old.
Oh man. I mean it's a bad thing, people should know. But yeah, I guess Asylum had a little bit more of an arcadey sort of take.
Yeah.
With like how he flies around and the sounds that you hear when he flies around.
Yeah. There's
right?
Yeah,
it was a bit more arcadey in that sense. And it worked, for me at least. It worked. I'm not saying that City sounds are bad. I loved it. It's just
of course.
It's a very, very slight improvement with Asylum, Just ever so slight. But yeah, what about you, Ajman? Do you agree with this or?
I'm gonna be frank with you. I didn't actually find too much of a difference between the combat noises between City and Asylum. Maybe it's because I don't really pay too much attention to these sort of sounds.
Fair enough.
As long as they're satisfying, as a whole, I don't bother comparing them to other games.
Fair enough. Fair
So,
enough. I can
Yeah.
I can understand you there. But
If you want to know like what my favorite sound overall is, like in terms of the gadgets at least, I would say that the remote electrical charge.
yeah, it's
Like,
very satisfying.
it has my favorite sound. Like when it fires that shot, it's very satisfying. Like I remember that the most out of all the gadget sounds in the game. So I think that is the reason why I would label it as my favorite gadget sound from Arkham City.
Even the freeze grenades are really nice sounding.
Yeah.
They did.
It's been,
Again, though, they get quite
Yeah.
repetitive.
yeah, obviously.
And of course, like this isn't something new in Arkham City, but there's the infamous exploding jail, which the sound of which was created using whipped cream,
Yeah.
like whipped cream containers.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
yeah, like the sound designers at Rocksteady created the sound for the explosive gel by pouring out whipped cream from a can.
Oh my god.
You know the sizzling noise it makes.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
recorded that and they used it for their explosive gel. So
Exploding
it's something
whipped
from
cream,
Asylum.
I like it.
Oh, wow, that's a good one.
Shut up, Dad.
Exploding whip.
So yeah, there's that.
I'll whip
There's
you.
an interesting
Oh, no.
yeah. So there's an interesting bit of trivia regarding the gadgets. It's not something it's not something new in Arkham City, but it's still there. So I thought it would be good to mention that.
It is a satisfying sound. But yeah, I guess that's it, right? For sound
Yeah, that's
design.
pretty much it. And before I scroll, I like to disclaim I love the Arkham City soundtrack, but I think Arkham Asylum
Takes the cake.
out-
Takes the cake.
takes the cake. It takes the
Fair
entire
enough.
fucking bakery. So yeah, I'm gonna let
All
you
the
guys go
cupcakes,
first.
cakes,
I'll
and
go.
everything. You're gonna take all
You're
that.
going last.
I'm going last.
You're going last. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Ajay,
All right,
you
you
want
want me to go first then?
Yeah, you go first.
Sure. I would love to, because I'm gonna be very generous with this and give it how amazing the main theme is for Arkham City. How phenomenal this theme is, like how it has helped me define like Batman. This theme, like the theme I like think about the most when I think about Batman in general.
Yep.
Because of how good the main theme of Arkham City is, just because of that, and considering all the other important themes like the ending theme, like the end credits theme, considering all that together, I would give it a 9.5.
9.5.
Definitely.
Alright.
Wow.
The only problem, I think, I don't know, like I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but sometimes I feel like things are memorable. Like the score isn't always memorable.
Yeah.
Like there are
it's
some
obvious because it's
boring
that
ones.
long of a game. I don't
It's
think-
so long. Yeah, exactly. It is to be expected, but still, I don't think it deserves a 10 out of 10 just because of that. I'm just gonna give it a 9.5.
Yeah. With me, again, I have no problems with the sound design in game score, but
Mm-hmm.
the fact that it wasn't memorable enough, I feel like that's gonna. I feel like one reason I have in my head at least to justify it is because it was somewhat too operatic sometimes. I feel
Really?
sometimes.
Okay. Yeah.
Might be, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just like searching for a reason.
For me, that's Goosebumps Central. But
It is when it's done in like enough times. Sometimes it's a little overdone for me.
fair enough.
Which is why I'd love to give it a 10, but I can't, and that's why I'm gonna give it a 9.
A 9?
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
I've already explained my reasoning. I'm gonna give it an 8.
An 8.
An 8.
Oof. Oh.
Again,
All right.
I'm gonna just reiterate my disclaimer here.
Combat
I
sounds.
love it to bits, but last time we gave Asylum a 10 because of how beautiful that was, and I need to be able to adjust.
accordingly.
accordingly
Yeah,
to that.
That's fair. That's fair.
So please don't be angry. But yeah. So that gives us 26.5. Divide that by 3, we get 8.83. So we round that down, don't we?
8.5.
8.5. There you go. Stabbing you in the ass.
I don't mind.
Alright. And so, our previous score of 43, we add 8.5. That brings us round to 51.5.
Dex.
Dex.
We should like sample like the deck thing that we say like 51.5. Dex. Dex. Dex.
That's very close to something.
Dex.
Dex.
You're painting a different picture here. Come on, guys. You're
We're
painting a
talking
very
about
different
sound
picture here.
design here,
51.5.
Dex. Oh god.
All right, that's enough.
Alright.
We don't want to get claimed. We don't want to get claimed by a few people on YouTube. You know how it works. So
But
yeah.
that's sound design and game school, ladies and gents, and we'll be talking about bugs or lack thereof next.